What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Media Goose channel. I am the Media Goose, and the goose is loose, baby. I am here today to talk to you about the 2026 Royal Rumble. That's right, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania, even if it doesn't feel like it. These Rumbles haven't had as as big of builds as they have in years past. A lot of times there's really clear stories going into Rumbles, and they kind of serve as through lines for the whole match. I think Royal Rumble matches are often better when they have specific stories going in. So while there isn't that happening this year, I will say it is nice to have a pretty open field. There are always going to be favorites, but I don't feel like there's anybody that is a glaring favorite this year in the sense that we're going in knowing who's going to win. So that is nice. So I'm going to go over the card, tell you what I think. I think they're going to open the night with the Women's Royal Rumble. I think they often open the show and close the show with a Rumble, and I think they'll start with the Women's. So for the Women's Rumble, some of the main contenders are going to be Liv Morgan, Asuka, Rhea, Charlotte, Io, Jordan Grace, and Chelsea. I think the women's tag team division, Chaos, has been a big story for the women's division, and I think that will continue to be the case in this match. I think that a lot of the people who might usually be contenders to win won't be in contention truly this year because they're going to be in the women's tag scene through Mania. I think also the Asuka Kairi Sane story going in is one I'm excited to see. They've started to do a great story between those two where it's like a toxic relationship where Asuka is being very abusive and overbearing to Kairi, and the comedy dynamics between those two have been incredible, so I can't wait to see how that plays out. And also the Judgment Day, the women of the Judgment Day, seeing how that's going to play out as well is going to be interesting. I think Liv thinks that she's the one pulling the strings, but I think it also seems like Roxanne might have something going on. She seems like she has her own kind of plan in play. So it'll be interesting to see if things develop here or if it's a longer story. Triple H goes long with stories, so it might not be time to pay that off yet. I think the Iron Woman, the person who's going to be in the match the longest, my two favorite options are Kairi Sane and Chelsea Green. I already talked about Kairi, how she's doing amazing work right now. I think that when I said the rest of the women would kind of stay in that tag scene, I wouldn't be surprised if Asuka and Kairi kind of come out of that, and you have Asuka going for the world title and Kairi going for the mid-card title. So I think Kairi having a long performance, putting herself in the way of a lot of damage for Asuka would be awesome. But Chelsea, I think, makes the most sense because I like it when a heel is the Iron Man or Iron Woman because the tactics that can be used to do that. I can see Chelsea clinging to the bottom rope, sitting down at commentary, having the secret Hervis carry her around on their shoulders, rather than being in the ring. So I think Chelsea could really milk that. The most eliminations, I was stuck between Lash Legend or Jordan Grace, but I have Jordan Grace in my final four, so I figured to balance things out, I gave Lash Legend the most eliminations. She's somebody who I do think will primarily stay in the tag division with Nia, but that'll give her something to move forward with as like a building block for her to go forward with. But my final four, as I said, I have Jordan Grace in there. I have Asuka. I think Kairi will probably take some big bullet for her, maybe like an Oblivion. And Kairi will be one of the last before the final four, but then she takes that bullet and Asuka survives. Liv Morgan will be in the final four, and the returning and winning Bianca Belair. I have Bianca Belair returning at the Rumble and winning. Now, there have not been reports about the status of her injury with her finger. Apparently, there have been complications. I am just going to hope that we haven't heard anything because they're trying to keep it quiet that she'll be back for the Rumble. I thought about having her win the Chamber, but I think she won the Chamber last year, so I don't think they'll go back to back with her. And I think it makes more sense to have Asuka and the three Judgment Day women as four of the main contenders going into the Elimination Chamber. So Bianca Belair wins, and I think she goes on to face Jade Cargill in what would be an amazing WrestleMania match. So now the second match of the night. I've got Drew versus Sammy. This build has been pretty good. It became clear a few weeks ago that it was going to be Sammy coming out of those little qualifying matches in that Fatal 4-Way. It's also in Saudi Arabia, and Sammy gets the hometown hero reaction there. Sammy's had a great run in the ring the last year. I mean, he's always been a reliable in-ring guy, but his little micro run with the U.S. title was really nice. He basically made Ilya in one match, putting that title on him. And the U.S. title, I think, has had great momentum since that hasn't let down. So I give Sammy a lot of credit for that. They've really harped on the fact that he's 0-11 versus Drew. There's a lot of things that make this feel like it would be Sammy's time, but I don't think they're taking the title off Drew yet. I think he'll have that belt going into Mania. I think Sammy is my pick for next year's Rumble because Mania is in Saudi, so I think him winning a world title night one of the Saudi Mania makes a lot of sense because night two I think will be Rock and Roman. But all of that to be said about Sammy, Drew's going to win. I have Drew winning this match. He didn't take the title off Cody, the top guy, to be a transitional champion to Sammy. I don't think that's the case. I think Drew's going to retain the title. I'm pretty confident in the fact that it's going to be Drew, Cody, and Jacob for the world title at Mania. And how we get there, I'll talk about more in the Rumble. Then my most anticipated match of the night, the match I think will be most people's most anticipated match of the night, AJ Styles versus Gunther with AJ's career on the line. I thought this would be at WrestleMania the earliest, maybe even later in the year, but I think this is it. I think this is where AJ's career is going to come to an end. I think if you look at his past year, he's basically been having a retirement tour anyway. He won the tag titles with Dragon Lee, who is a great in-ring guy. They had amazing matches, and I think that was a really fun run for AJ. The Cena match was incredible. The match he just had with CM Punk was phenomenal. I would love to see him win, outsmart Gunther, use Gunther's hubris against him, and then based on AJ winning, you could have Gunther snap. I don't love the grinning, goofy Gunther we've been getting, so I would love for AJ to sneak a win here and have Gunther snap afterwards and like maul AJ and maybe injure him, write him off for a little bit. So Gunther gets his heat back and goes back to being the ring general, not this. I don't know. This feels like what Triple H wants him to be as a heel and not what I think Gunther's best heel work has been. So I think the best thing to do would be AJ win and then Gunther snap and become like merciless and intense again. But I do think Gunther's just going to retire AJ Styles here in what should be a phenomenal match. Phenomenal. There's only so many more times we'll get to say it. So now what I think will be the main event match of the night, the Men's Royal Rumble match. So there haven't been a ton of stories being built going into this year, but there's a few. So Cody's been pushing that he wants to tie Austin for 3 Rumble wins. I would hate that. The only way I would be okay with Cody winning the Rumble is if him and Jacob do a double elimination spot at the end of the match, and they both end up winning. I just don't see a lot of value in Cody getting 3 Rumble wins in 4 years. He's above needing to win the Rumble to get that shot. So then we also have the Vision storyline going in, where all 4 of them are in the Rumble now. It's clear that Pierce is hoping they're going to implode. There was that backstage segment where Logan Paul led the group in saying that Braun should win. That was so straightforward that it made me think a swerve could be coming, where I don't really know what it would be. Either maybe they're all really going to align behind Logan and turn on Braun, so then Breakker is a face on his loan, or like maybe a tweener more than a face, but I don't see WWE keeping him heel long when every time he comes out, the whole arena has the barking happening, and I think they're going to want to get behind that. So I could see them wanting to turn him face somehow, but then what if Seth is back? Because they've been kind of like shady about what could happen there. And if Seth is back, what happens? Is it him and Braun again? Do they somehow team up and be faces? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but the Vision will be something to watch. We have Roman returning. That's a big story going in. And then a story beat they developed on Raw that was pretty cool was Finn declaring but not being able to get in because the Rumble is already full. I think we could see Finn maybe attack somebody during their entrance to steal their spot. Somebody who, I don't know, maybe like a Dragon Lee, who he's not going to win the Rumble this year. And you can, I don't know, Penta and Ray are ahead of him in that group that they're doing right now anyway. So I could see him maybe jumping Dragon backstage or on his entrance out to take his spot. And the person I think now who should be the Iron Man is going to be Javon Evans. It's his first Rumble. I think you need to show the world what you think of Javon Evans. And regardless of Mark Henry saying that he's 10 to 15 years away, which is ridiculous, I think you go there now. So I would give Javon the number one spot, let him enter first, and have a coast-to-coast kind of a performance where he's there right until the end. I'd have him just outside of the Final Four. So I would love to see this match really make Javon in that way. Then for most eliminations, I have Obafemi. I think it's smart that they didn't debut him before the Rumble and they're doing it at the Rumble. I would let the ring fill up and then let him come in and clear house. He's another one who I think you got to make while he's hot right now. And then my final four. So my final four for the men are going to be Cody and Jacob, Randy Orton, and the returning Roman Reigns. Right up until I recorded this, I had Penta in the final four, but then I switched it to Randy because I think if Randy's in there, he should probably be in the final four. And what I think will happen, I do think Drew will hit the ring and double eliminate Cody and Jacob so that the final two are Roman and Randy. A final two that I know has happened at least once, maybe twice before. And I would have Roman win. Not that I would have him win, but I think he will win. I think the video packages they've run hyping his return have been very Riyadh-centric. I think the Saudi Arabian contingent love Roman. They see him as a very big deal. They really like big name stars, big name draws. That's why you've already heard they're trying to get The Rock to come for WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. So I think based on the fact that this is in Saudi and Roman is Roman, I think he'll win. And I think you've got options for what you do with him at Mania. You could either do him and Punk for the World Heavyweight. I think that would elevate that title. Or you could add him to the fray over on SmackDown. If it's a Cody, Jacob, Drew triple threat, Roman has history with all three of those guys. So they don't do the Fatal 4-Way at Mania thing often, but that wouldn't be a bad group. That as the Night 2 main event, Roman, Cody, your two big draws. Drew, the guy you just put the world title on and will be elevated based on the fact that he can claim himself to be a Night 2 main eventer after this. And you're elevating Jacob, somebody I would love to see elevated all the way up to main eventer. And hell, if that were the Night 2 main event, I say make a guy and have Jacob walk out with the world title. That probably won't be a very popular opinion, but like I said earlier in the video, I'm about taking the chance. Or I had to record this video twice, so if I didn't make that point, it's because it's in the other video I had to delete. But yeah, I've got Roman Reigns, Bianca, Gunther, and Drew as my four winners tonight. In terms of surprises for the Men's Rumble, I would love to see KO return if he's healthy. I really hope we haven't seen the end of Kevin Owens' career. I think Chris Jericho's probably going to be back. I would love to see that. And I know that might not be a popular take either, but I love me some Chris Jericho. He might have got cringy in AEW, but it's whatever. That's probably it. I don't think there will be many other surprises. TNA guys, maybe. Some NXT guys, maybe. But yeah, so let me know down below what you think of my predictions. Let me know who you think are going to win the Rumbles and the other two matches, and what you think the card could shape up like at WrestleMania. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the Royal Rumble. Have a good night.